need a bit of water. Not to worry about that.
Looks like you need a whiskey.
All right, good afternoon, great to be here, and a real privilege to take you through the FNB journey from a digital banking perspective. In terms of culture, FirstRand has had a wonderfully entrepreneurial culture. We've got a sort of owner-manager way of working, and I think that's filtered through quite nicely into our award-winning digital banking, which at the time it was launched was a first in South Africa back in 2011. I'll take you through some of those dates just now. In terms of scale, we've got 2 million active devices connected up onto the app. We've gone into a lot of fields like business banking and creating this business directory ecosystem for our business banks to come in and share their products and services, and our ratings to come through there and create this environment within which businesses in a sort of startup SME environment can benefit from the wide distribution of the banking environment over our user-intuitive app. Things like cardless cash withdrawals, e-wallets, and the ability to pay people without a bank account contributes to financial inclusion. Forex payments, inward and outward SWIFT, it's a very feature-rich platform that we built over a number of years that we've been working on this. Shares portfolio, geolocated payments, so the NFC capability, and that's part of the tap and pay capability that is now available in our version 5.0, which we launched a couple of weeks ago, and I'll talk a little bit more just now. But the original experimentation of that was when two users were close to each other and they were able to transfer funds through that NFC capability in the smartphones. And then a whole card management capability, also part of that. Talking about ROI, we've delivered over 270 million rands of savings back into consumers' pockets through up to 40% discounted vouchers and coupon redemption capabilities through 17 retail partners that we brought on board through our eBucks partnerships over the years. And then, as I mentioned, version 5, we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. We've moved on to smartwatches, we've got the tap and pay capabilities. As contactless infrastructure is increasing in the merchant space, I think you'll find a migration over time that merchants will start to be able to receive payments on their mobile devices once the regulatory innovation happens over time. We've then also introduced secure chat and then fingerprint ID verification as well to counter the SIM swap fraud issues. So the journey's been on the go for a while. I think we had the benefit of this highly entrepreneurial culture. We had the benefit of a very customer-centric way of working, and we've been able to build a team at scale over a number of years. That's not to say we don't have challenges today, we definitely do. So In Contact was one of the very early initiatives, and even when you go overseas and you talk to people in developed economies, there are things like that, simple basic value adds for consumers that they are only getting used to. Cell phone banking, we've got over 4 million customers on our simple USSD platform, basic menus and features for people to get access to on feature phones, and that's where you don't have the smartphone penetration. And then our big app in 2011, I was actually at a Gartner Mobile conference about 6 months later, and I happened to be standing around having a cup of tea with the guys from all the other banks, and we sort of did a snap survey of where we all were with our banking apps, and it was just quite interesting to assess the difference in the cultures that it led to all of us being fairly close in terms of getting something out, but us sort of taking the risk a little bit earlier than the others. Smart devices, tablets, etc. And then, of course, last year moving into the telco space with our FNB SIM service, and those features now being available on our app as well. And as we continue to disrupt other areas, making sure that the relevant features that would be useful to our app users in a very simple, intuitive environment. You don't want to clutter an app experience with a shopping list of features that you can make available from a whole bunch of product houses that are eager to make their products available onto those platforms. But you've got to retain the integrity of the user interface and the simple, slick, clean manner in which you've designed it. So connectivity is fully available, and people can manage calls, they can manage their cellular spend, they can manage their SIM cards. The whole MVNO sort of work that we've done to build that over the years and we've launched into the market last year is now also going to obviously benefit our app users. And the simple value proposition there was that there's no customer intimacy or insight around a cell phone contract. There isn't even much around a home loan account or an insurance policy. There's a hell of a lot of customer insight and intimacy around a banking account. We know absolutely everything you're doing with all your money. every single day. So the ability to then bring cell phone contracts alongside our strong ability to manage detailed billing and management of banking transactions has seen quite a strong take-up in the last year since that's been made available. And then, of course, the on-the-go capabilities, people are mobile, all digital transformation and disruptive strategies generally have a mobile-first capability. We've heard a couple of presentations today, how even startups are thinking first and foremost about how do they make that available on the consumer's device. And that's the benefit that startups have over large banks like Brett at ABSA, ourselves at FNB and the others in South Africa. We have to think about that mobile strategy and bring these huge product houses that have been able to build over 100 years or more and offer a simple, slick, intuitive environment. So again, our successful e-wallet capability, we've seen mobile money drop out of MTN, we've seen M-Pesa close down, very successful elsewhere on the continent, but if you can bundle value-added features in one place, people are more likely to use it, as we've seen with our airtime, lotto, Powerball, vouchers, coupons, etc., and then the prepaid electricity. And then most recently, as I said a couple of weeks ago, FNB Watch app moving out onto the smartwatch platform, and then the FNB Pay capability, and there I've just shown you a couple of our intuitive screen design. And actually on that first home page is our NAV capability, which is a financial GPS, if you like, that we are launching, where it makes our customers' lives a little bit easier to navigate the world of the FNB ecosystem. So it's all very well setting up a very feature-rich, a valuable ecosystem. You've got to help them navigate your world. And then just last thoughts, we continue to push a very strong value proposition, and then second from the top on the left-hand side, there's secure chat to our private banking clients in the app environment, lots of discounts, and then tap your phone to pay. That contactless infrastructure, as that increases, I think you'll find a move away from devices and onto convenience. And then, as I said there, instant property value from our NAV home capability. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. All right, let's get into the questions.
Hi. You've shown a lot of interface, a lot of innovation on that side. What's the biggest idea you guys have said no to, and do you regret it?
The one that we said no to was to take banking into the proprietary messaging environment. So I think, we've heard from Brett now, and it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves over time. We made a strong decision, and if you have a strong platform already, probably that decision will be a little easier. So I agree with taking ATMs into shopping malls when people are already, but unfortunately WhatsApp is the biggest messaging environment, and they're not opening up any APIs in this country. So WhatsApp would have been the right place if we were going for a messaging banking capability.
Hi there. The MVNO model is obviously very interesting. We've seen it in Kenya with Equitel, etc. What has the take-up been on your side, and are you pushing it very hard, or is it still in pilot?
I think the numbers are anywhere 400,000 or 500,000. We've offered a failover from, which is obviously our Cell C backbone, onto Vodacom if there are connectivity issues. So we actually put a lot of money into that, and I think Jacques has been quite open in the media. We've also backed Cell C. They put an extra R1 billion into their infrastructure as well. Take-up has actually been very good. I think people are still multi-telco, so they'll have Vodacom and then they'll put the SIM card in the gate motor or the kid's iPad. We want to take all those SIM cards into the FNB ecosystem.
You're the biggest and greatest digital bank in South Africa. Where's your public API for developers and third parties to build value around your customer ecosystem?
Great question, and my congrats to Brett and the team and Peter Ricks, the CTO at ABSA. They've now done that before us. They've opened up an API into the SMB world. And I actually have asked a couple of my colleagues internally whether that's something that we would consider. And unfortunately, being very strong digitally means that you tend to have a little bit more of a closed mindset around, well, we can build this ourselves and we can create a closed ecosystem. Interesting, Wallet Doc just partnered with ABSA. They're a first-rand incubated startup. So we certainly have some challenges around culturally getting around this idea of creating a periphery around our organization and allowing those people to connect into our environment.
Yeah, so my question was actually connected with that. It's more about, yes, you're driving a lot of innovation, but I think the perception is that FNB wants to do everything themselves. So where does the whole fintech environment, where does the ecosystem fit in?
So last week we ran our third Code Fest, And we had over 300 developers internally come in and work in a hackathon type of environment, and actually partnered with a number of people to come inside and provide real-time solutions. We had Amazon, we had Red Hat, we had IBM, and we said to the guys, bring your stuff and let's do it in an experimental ring-fenced environment. So to answer your question, that's where it started, and hopefully it will then permeate into the rest of the organization. But culturally, I do agree we've got a challenge around that one.
So, two quick questions. Apart from, you mentioned like bundling works in a way.
What?
Bundling of services.
Yes.
How do you measure success? What are the KPIs apart from basic usage and adoption?
I think it's metrics on their individual transactions, and if features aren't being used, we switch them off. You've got to retain the integrity of that user interface. Even though you've got feature-rich product houses, they cannot all put everything onto an app, and that screen real estate is also not suitable for everything that they would do. So we have quite a strongly governed digital banking environment, and it's almost a product house in itself. So they retain the integrity of their platform, and then the product houses have to really queue up to get priority into that environment.
All right, thank you, Peter. Really appreciate your efforts. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now let's welcome to the stage Danielle from Standard Bank.
Yes.